You won't believe the tea we're spilling today. From secret breakups to shocking lies, this is Unreal Tea. Hit subscribe before the drama starts. Welcome everyone, Robyn's secret advantage exposed. Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 28. Breakdown, Part 3 One-on-One. Did Robyn Brown just admit she had an unfair advantage all along? Because her smug little smirk says it all. You guys, this episode, absolutely wild. We're diving into Season 19, Episode 28 of Sister Wives, the third installment of the explosive one-on-one interviews. And let me tell you, tensions are peaking. Let's talk about Robyn. She's sitting there with this queen bee attitude, nonchalantly bragging about the luggage rack she receives, while the other wives are stuck out in the cold. And yes, it's just as petty and telling as it appears. She's boastful, too boastful. And if you're watching, you're likely a long-time viewer who knows. When Robyn's got that expression on her face, something fishy just went down. Coyote Pass drama? Oh, it's worse than we imagined. Meri starts things off by letting us know where we stand with the land. Yes, it's finally paid off, but what's really going on behind the scenes is even more sinister. She explains they're still fighting over how to split it up, and spoiler alert, it's completely unfair. The division is a disaster. You'd think after all these years, they'd figure it out. But nope, it's a mess, and Meri, she's done pretending everything's okay. Listen closely. Meri drops a bombshell. While chatting with Suki, Meri recounts how even back in Vegas, simply asking questions about the land got her in trouble. Who shut her down? It was Kody and Robyn. There it is, clear as day. Kody and Robyn were already gatekeeping power and control long before the family even moved to Flagstaff. And Meri? She was already being silenced. Let that sink in. And here's what really stings. Then we thought Meri was on Team Kody plus Robyn. She defended them, stood up for them. But now we get it. It wasn't loyalty. It was manipulation. Subtle control disguised as togetherness. So, what's truly happening? Why does Robyn continue winning and the others are left with scraps? Why was Meri disciplined for asking questions? And how long has Kody been playing this game, selecting one wife and kicking the others aside? It didn't feel like it. She was. As a viewer, I thought it was weird. I think most of you agree. We could tell she was on the outside, but she still stuck up for Kody, and she stuck up for Robyn. But we have watched her evolve, and she has seen the light. She realizes now, even back in Vegas, they were looking out for themselves. I just didn't want to leave that moment out, even though it wasn't a big deal. Now, if I had to sum up the first 5 minutes of this one-on-one, it would be that Meri, Janelle, and Christine don't think Kody was fair with money, and they don't think that he will be fair with the division of the property. They think he's selfish, and he looks out for himself. None of that part of the show was surprising to me, and probably not to any other viewers. I do want to put in a clip of Christine talking about Kody's spending. She says that Janelle saw what was being spent and who was doing it, but Janelle was fairly tight-lipped about it. But sometimes she would say things weren't fair. And then Christine talks about assets. I'm like, why is that fair? And then Kody would just decide to buy tons of whatever assets that he would call assets, and he would just go spend family money on that. She said he called assets, and she used air quotations when she was talking about these assets. It makes me wonder if they knew the whole time that the stuff he was purchasing was just crap and it wasn't really an asset to the family, or if it was something that came to light after they were leaving him. As a viewer, I had no idea that Kody and Robyn purchased artwork the way that they did. I didn't like years of watching the show. I didn't know they were just filling their house up like that. I wonder if they realized he was doing it to the magnitude that he was. And I also like the dolls and the shopping. I wonder how much of that they started to realize was going on after they left versus when they were with him. All I'm going to say is it would be impossible for me to stay married to someone if I knew they were spending the money that they were on artwork, dolls, junk journals in their house. And then over in my house, I didn't know if I had money for my kids to have surgeries or have the things they need. Or if I was even just struggling a little bit while they were indulging in that way. I don't actually know that Christine was talking about the dolls, artwork, and junk journals. I have no idea. It's just an assumption, but I could definitely see Kody saying that the dolls are an investment. Like this collection of dolls will be worth something one day. I could see him doing that. Now, let's talk for a minute about Kody. There was a part that stood out to me. It was when Suki was questioning Kody about why there was so much distrust among everyone when it came to money. And I want you guys to listen to what he said. Janelle and Meri are both leaving me going, wish I had some way to get alimony. It's like, well, what are you going to come after me for money later? Meri grew up in a polygamous family. Janelle was familiar with it. She married into Meri's family originally. They were both familiar with polygamy. They did not think they were getting alimony. They knew they were not entitled to that. I cannot recall a single time that alimony has been brought up by any of these women on the show. I think Kody just pulled that out of thin air. But if you guys can think of a time they have mentioned alimony, you guys, please let me know down in the comments. I just think they know. They know polygamy, and they know they weren't getting anything from him. What's really funny about this is that everyone's questioning how he handled money in the past because of how he is currently handling money. If he had sold Coyote Pass and fairly distributed the money from that sale, we wouldn't be talking about this. But what's prompting the whole conversation is whether or not he's going to be fair with the money from Coyote Pass. And then we're looking further back and we're talking about the things he would buy and the way money was spent. He brought this on himself. He should have split that property up, made sure a sale went through. He was the one who was supposed to be handling it. If he had done it and done it fairly, we wouldn't be talking about their finances anymore. So, when they're talking, Kody implies that all of this distrust is happening because they're leaving and they're wanting things now and how it's not fair. But then we get Meri and she tells this story that really surprised me. I would love to know more details about this. I don't know that we'll ever know what really happened. I kept thinking, was this something that happened on the show? And I don't remember. And if you guys remember and you can recall this, let me know what season it was, because I don't remember ever hearing about this before, but I might have just forgotten it. Here's the clip of Meri talking about how she met with her accountant, Kody and Robyn. Had a conversation with Kody and Robyn and my accountant, showing them this is how I've contributed. So, to me, this is already weird. Why is it Meri with Kody and Robyn? Why aren't they all involved if this, she goes on to say, this was years ago. Why wasn't this a whole family discussion? Like what was going on, where they were focusing in on Meri and her money? You know, because this was years ago. And after that, he was like, oh, okay. Because I think that he thought that I was keeping money from him or from the family. If that story is true, then the whole issue of distrust isn't something that's just with Janelle, Meri, and Christine. It also involved Kody and Robyn thinking they weren't getting enough money from the working wives. I would just love to have more of that backstory. I have a feeling, though, it's not going to show Kody and Robyn in the most flattering way. When Kody was talking about finances, of course, he didn't take any accountability. He didn't acknowledge that he may have been overspending. None of that. He shifted all of that blame over to Janelle. Honestly, that didn't surprise me at all. What did disappoint me was hearing Meri say that she didn't know who to trust. And she said that Janelle was saying she wasn't the one handling the money. And now she can't trust. She's not sure she can trust Janelle. And then she doesn't trust Kody and Robyn anymore. That disappointed me because when I listen to Janelle talk about the finances, what I hear is that she did the bookkeeping, but Kody still had control over it. I've never heard Janelle say, I wasn't involved. She just says she wasn't the one who really controlled the spending. That's my understanding of it. But Meri's taking it. It sounds like she's taking it as if Janelle is saying she had nothing to do with it. Now she doesn't trust Janelle. Honestly, I had never thought these two would be great friends, but I did hope that they could at least be on the same side when it came to dealing with Coyote Pass finances or Kody, but it looks like that's just not going to happen. And it's not just Meri who's unsure of things. We also have Kody, who's 100% willing to place the blame on Janelle. He says that when she handed the finances over to him, it was all a mess. Now, Janelle has a bit of a theory as to why Kody is doing this. I'm going to put the clip in here. It's interesting, and I've started to observe that Kody likes to he's attacked all of his wives that are leaving in the area that hurts them the most, or that they pride, or that they value, right? Janelle goes on to say that Kody is attacking her when it comes to the finances and that he did the same thing to Christine when it came to being attracted to her and affection. Kody just goes after what people value the most. And when Suki talks to Christine about this, Christine agrees. Kody finds your weakness and then he'll hit there. After this, the show shifts over to Suki and Christine talking about intimacy. Christine says there was no emotion there when she was with Kody. It was just an act, and it's rare that Kody doesn't find a way to say something awful, but I felt like he actually held it together during this part of the show. He didn't say anything too bad. He did say Christine was a good time experience, and I felt like he shouldn't have said that, but otherwise, I felt like he was okay. I felt like they were trying to say the same thing. It wasn't a lasting good relationship. Again, he usually says something really, really terrible. I felt like he wasn't too bad there. I don't have a lot to say about their intimacy conversations. Kody does say at one point that he is impressed by Christine's ability to manifest because she does seem to have the relationship that she always wanted. And I hope that's true. I hope she did make it really happen, and she's living the life that she wanted to live. With that all being said, there is one part of this I do want to point out. It was a moment with Suki. I thought it was really funny. If Kody had said this about Robyn, I would be giving him a hard time. So, I can't let this slide when it comes to Suki and Christine either. Here's a clip of them talking about David. David, you got the magic sauce. I know, he is the magic sauce. He is. I wish every woman would feel like this. I just couldn't leave out a part of this where Suki says, David, you got the magic sauce. There was no way I was making this video without that part. I do think it's been a lot more enjoyable since we're seeing more of Suki's personality and she's being more assertive when she needs to be. Feel like she has done much better. Even if some of these one-on-ones have been a bit boring, I don't think it was because of her. Okay, I said I wasn't going to say anything about the intimacy PDA part of the show, but there is a part of this that I do want to talk about. It's less about intimacy and the PDA rule that the family had, and more about Robyn. Suki is talking to Robyn about that rule, that there would be no PDA. And Robyn's talking about how the rule already existed before she entered the family. So here's the clip I want you guys to see. You didn't have a voice or say in the family? No, I was told I didn't have a say. I was told that I want to stop it right here because I already feel like this is not true. We have heard over and over again how much the family changed when Robyn entered the family. The way they lived, their family meals, the holidays, the kids, everything shifted when she joined the family. She may have felt like she needed to conform in some areas, but I don't believe for a second she was told that she had to, because we know that's not what happened. I needed to conform to what they were doing because I was trying really hard not to, rock the boat too. But the biggest area that I think Robyn sort of needed to stay out of was raising the teenagers. She came into the family when some of those kids were already in the teen years, and it was a little bit too late to step in as a parent. And I think there were times we saw her putting her opinion into what they were doing and how they were being raised when maybe she shouldn't have. And I know ultimately it was up to the biological mother to decide what happened. But I always think back to the episode where the kids wanted to join a youth group at another church, and it became this huge thing with Maddie. And this was just a time where I was like, I feel like Robyn has entered the family too late to be involved in this discussion. She doesn't know what all the years were like before she entered the family and how they feel about their own faith. I think that was an area she needed to stay out of, and maybe she was told, hey, you can't come in and parent them. But I still think in all the other ways they tried to adjust to Robyn. Can you share who told you that? Not, I just rather not point fingers. You know, Robyn could have said, I felt like I had to conform. I felt like I didn't have control. Something like that would have led to Suki asking for examples, but she said someone told her she had to conform. That means we're going to ask because viewers are going to want to know who said that, who was it, and then when she doesn't want to give an answer, it almost makes it feel like it's not true. You know, it makes it seem like this might be a lie. This is something we see with Kody in this one-on-one as well. He shares a story, but won't give any details, won't tell what happened. It's just so horrible. He can never tell us about it. Really, it makes it feel like it wasn't true. It makes it feel like you are telling us a lie, or you're telling us a partial truth. And when we find out who was involved and ask them and hear the whole truth, it's not going to be very flattering for you. After this, there is a really absurd moment with Kody, where he talks about how one time he was thrown out of the family for being affectionate with Robyn. Last time Robyn and I showed PDA with the family, we got kicked out. You got kicked out. See that face that Suki is making? I have a feeling most of us were at home making that face. And you know what? He was only one sentence into this story, and it already sounds like a lie. I'm not going there. Yeah, they with us bad. And, boy, it cost me dearly. Of course, he's not gonna go there, because if he went there, then we would realize it was a lie. Or we would see that he was really the problem, or Robyn was the problem. But he's not going to go there and talk about it. I have heard a theory. I actually didn't hear the theory. I read it online. Someone had made a post about how it was possible that the situation he is talking about here was actually related to Garrison's funeral. You know, there was a lot of gossip that there was a falling out after something that took place at one of the services. I do think it's a pretty good theory. We know something went down at the funeral. We just don't know what. There were rumors for a while that they were talking about his house and money, and that it was like inappropriate conversations for the setting and what was going on, and then everyone was angry. But maybe it was something related to them being really affectionate. I mean, you never know with these two what they're up to. Explain. I don't even know what you're talking about. It's a story that just cannot be told. Oh, I wanted to add a little bit more from that part because he's saying he can't tell it, and then he goes on to say it's vitally detrimental. So he can't tell the story because it's that big of a deal. But at the beginning of the one-on-ones, and I don't know if it was during this one or just the first one, I didn't pay attention. But it says they agreed that they were not going to discuss the passing of Garrison during the one-on-ones. So it makes me wonder if it was something that involving that time period, one of his services, and then there Kody's like, I'm not discussing it because he knows he's not supposed to. Forget trying to figure out what the story is about, though. I want to talk about the fact that Kody brings things up, and then we'll shut the conversation down. He does this a lot, and at first I just thought it was annoying, and it was something where he was being controlling, and I still kind of think that. But I also think he likes to look like the stand-up guy. The problem is no one is falling for it. You know, he'll tell this story and it makes it sound like him and Robyn are the victims. Like we were just being affectionate with one another, and then we were thrown out of the family by the awful mean villains. And I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I'm not gonna bring it up, though. I'm not gonna do that. You know, Robyn said in this video, I'm not gonna point fingers, because then it makes them look like they're the virtuous person. They're not gonna put other people down. They're gonna move on from things. But it's not working. It's just not. We're not falling for it. He shouldn't have brought any of the story up. Don't bring it up if you don't want to talk about it. But acting like you're sparing people or you were so hurt that you can't discuss it anymore doesn't make us think you're the good guy. I don't know if I explained that well. If you understood what I was trying to say, let me know down in the comments. If it didn't make any sense at all, let's just pretend that didn't happen. If I had to sum it up a little bit shorter, these two could be radio silent and never discuss anyone else forever. That's not going to make us forget all the things they have done before. They've done enough damage. Okay, you guys, I was going to move on, but I have one more thing I want to add. It's actually a part of the show I thought was kind of funny. It's just one line from Kody. He's talking about this whole story that he doesn't want to tell us about. And I just want to add, if for you guys that are new here, I have this theory that Kody sometimes practices things in front of a mirror before he is filmed because I do think this man is a performer. He likes attention. He can be dramatic. So here is one of Kody's dramatic moments. H, is it reset or is it, let's just not talk about it? Okay, oh, that face Suki is making right there is the face we were making again. A little bit of an eye squint, like, what is wrong with you, dude? What are you talking about? Let's just not talk about it. So dramatic, Kody. So dramatic. So Kody goes from not telling the story that he brought up to talking about true love and how he cannot show any sort of affection to Robyn until Janelle and Meri are married. He can't publicly do it. He cannot be affectionate in front of others. They have to do it privately to be safe. I'm so sick of the word safe, but he throws the word safe in here. And then he says this, when true love is exposed, it calls down wrath. Who talks like this? Who talks about their relationship like this? It's crazy. It's like he's living in some sort of fantasy land. And it's like the world hates true love so much. You know, you are really trying to get out of holding yourself accountable when you blame the whole world. The world hates true love. That's why this has went so badly. It's not because you were a terrible husband or a bad father, or you failed as a polygamist. Nope. It's because the whole world hates true love, that they want to be really, really crappy about it. So, it's been a painful experience falling in love, not from the person I fell in love with, but from the world outside. I have to admit that the first time I watched this, it was definitely one of those times I was yelling back at the TV and then sort of laughing as well because it was all very ridiculous. I still feel that way, but now that I'm rewatching it, there's a part of me that's like, is he well? Are people kind of keeping an eye on him and the way he's thinking about things? Because it doesn't feel like it's a normal way people would react to things, to really believe the whole world has a problem with true love. It sounds like something that would pee the way people would talk in a fairy tale. It's not realistic. After this, the show shifts over to talking about Robyn and Meri, and we get to see clips from when Meri packed up her stuff to move to Utah. You know, it was one of those times I was really proud of Meri. Kody's crying like crazy. Robyn's there with the junk journal crying, but Meri is having no part of it. Like she was not going to be emotional with them, which I loved. It was also just something that was sort of funny to watch. We know Robyn really hasn't tried to be close to Meri, but there she is showing up at her house, like there was some great relationship there. We know there wasn't. When Christine is watching these clips, she thinks it's funny like a lot of us did. Robyn makes this claim that she had actually reached out to Meri after Meri had moved, and all I could think of when she said that was, why did you reach out after she moved? Why weren't you reaching out during the COVID years when everyone was quarantining? Why weren't you reaching out after that? Why after she's moving to Utah do you decide to contact her? It's a little too late, and it seems like Meri kind of felt the same way. According to Robyn, Meri declined. She responded and basically said she didn't know how to make it work at that point. I wouldn't have wanted to hang out with Robyn either. I'd have been like, if we weren't hanging out before, don't call me now. So it makes sense to me. We get to hear Christine talk about how good Meri's friends were. You know, we watched that this season. Meri spent a lot of time with her friends, and Christine talks about how she has a good friend group. And then we flip over to Kody, and he claims that Jen is jealous. I wasn't shocked to hear him say that because he's so rude. But I didn't expect it to go that direction at this point. I'm going to put the clip in here so you guys can be reminded of what Kody said. Like Jen saying that Robyn isn't loyal. You don't even know. But Jen's jealous. She wants to be Meri's best friend. She wants to be Meri's best friend. I'm under the impression she is Meri's best friend and has been the best friend for a long time. She would never want Meri to have a relationship with Robyn because Robyn's a threat to her. Jen isn't jealous. Robyn's not a threat. And part of it is, I don't think Robyn really ever cared to be Meri's friend. Maybe in the beginning there was a friendship because of the way the wives divided up. But I don't think Robyn really had interest in being close to Meri. I don't think so. I imagine that Jen and Meri really got a kick out of that part of the show. I'm sure they were cracking up about it. After this, during the one-on-one, it sort of jumps around quite a bit. We do get to hear that luggage rack story. It's sort of weird to hear all these things from the past, but I think it's a way to pull Christine in because she's not really involved in anything anymore. You know, she's not involved with Kody or Coyote Pass, any of that stuff. She's on the outside, so talking about these old stories pulls her back in. Kody really seemed to have no idea what they were talking about at first, but Robyn did, and you can see from the clip at the beginning, she was very happy with herself when she said she got the luggage rack. We did get a preview of the next episode, and there's a part of this where Kody says something about a rose garden of trust. And as we were watching this one-on-one, you can tell his storytelling and his dramatics. This family's drama is far from over, so smash like if you're your team wives, subscribe for the next explosive update, and drop a comment below. Who do you think will win? Stay shady, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next scandal. Unreal Tea out.